called character development. Look it up. It's literally official. I found my favourite romance. This isn't so... Okay, let me start. You probably don't remember who I am because it's been a whole 6 months since I last read. A lot of things have happened, but to be fair, I have not been reading that much. Let me pull up the stats because honestly, it's looking really embarrassing. This entire year I've read 20 books. Of the 20 books, I found some really amazing books. So let's get into it. Best books you've read so far this year. Okay, the first book I'm going to talk about is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. So I read this in May when I went on holiday with 2 of my booktube friends, Dana and Jayla. Let me put some pictures here, if I'm bothered. Anyway, this book is honestly my new favourite romance ever. The first time I read it, I borrowed a copy from a friend at work. Then I bought a copy. Then I gave it to my cousin who went abroad, so she has it somewhere far away. And then I bought another copy so I can give it to one of my friends who gave it to another friend. So basically, I literally just have a physical copy just so I can force other people to read it because it's so good. Honestly, kind of sad that I didn't like vlog the experience. It's literally official. Like, I found my favourite romance. So the main character, she's very like uptight, very career driven, like take no shit, high maintenance, and you know, not very go with the flow. Like, she needs a plan. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It just subverts all tropes that you think are going to happen, and it's kind of like taking the piss out of itself whilst also being like really cute, really romantic. She works in New York, but she goes to this small town with her sister for a reason that I don't even remember. Oh, and it's also publishing, so she's a publishing agent. She's an agent and he's an editor. Like, if I want to recommend a romance, this is the romance I'll always recommend. Another book that I would say is one of the best books I've read this year is Jeanette McCurdy's memoir, I'm Glad My Mum Died. She's basically talking about growing up with an abusive mum and being forced into the child acting industry and like how absolutely terrible that was, and her eating disorder. It gets really graphic with her eating disorder. There are a lot of triggers to look into if you want to read this book. Just written so well. It's set like before her mum died and after her mum died. Like, half of the book is before and half of it is after, I think. And she put her mum on such a pedestal, and you could see it in the writing, like how much she believed everything her mum told her and everything, and she didn't even realise she was abusive until after she died and she went to therapy. And it was honestly like so well written, and it was really powerful. It's so good. I listened to the audiobook. When I want to read a memoir, I always prefer listening to the audiobook because it's narrated by them. So anyway, next question. Best sequel. I haven't read many sequels this year, but the best sequels are Blue Lily Lily Blue, which is the 3rd book in the Raven Cycle series, and The Raven King by Maggie. These books are so good. The first book in the series, it was a bit slow and I still loved it. Like, I think I gave it 4.5 stars. And the second book too, just love these characters. And I feel like these 2 books in the series are like the best ones because the pacing is better than the first 2 books, I think. And then the plot is just like, I don't know, it's just so good and I absolutely love it, and I love these characters, and I can't wait to reread the series because it's honestly like so good. And the writing as well, and the humour, I just love it. And then another one I will say, where is my copy? First book I gave, I think, 4.5 stars. I loved it, but I think the things that were lacking for me were it was a bit slow at the beginning. I think there was a lot of info dumping about like the political system and all of that, and I thought that it was too focused on like gang stuff, which is the whole premise of these books, by the way, so that doesn't make a lot of sense for me to use it as criticism, but it just felt so like small picture. This book, first of all, I literally have no respect when it comes to books. Like, tell me why this is the 2nd book I've now damaged with water. But to be fair, it wasn't my fault. I had a water bottle in my bag and this was also in my bag, and then I took out the water bottle and it was empty, and I was like, who drank my water? And then I took this out and look how... Anyway, at least it's still readable. Like, it hasn't damaged the words, and that's all that matters really. This book, I liked it even better than the first book because I feel like it was higher stakes, the pacing was better. I feel like I already knew the politics of this world, so it didn't feel as info dumpy. So I gave this one 5 stars, and it was, as usual, like Fondely knows how to pack a punch. Pack a punch, was that the words for it? This one was even better than the first one in my opinion. I started the last book recently, but I wasn't in a like big fantasy mood, so I let it go. Because that's what I do now. I used to not be able to like not finish a book before, but now I don't have the attention span. Like, I've forgotten how to read, so I literally have to, like, if I'm not feeling a book or if I'm not in the mood to read a book, I'll just put it down. That's called character development. Look it up. A new release that I haven't read yet but want to, so I feel like I've been behind with what's currently like what everyone's talking about, but Babel by R.F. Kuang. I've read like 2 or 3 Dark Academias before and I haven't liked any of them. That's including Legendborn, Truly Devious, and I feel like there was another one that I read and I didn't really enjoy. So I'm oh, actually wait, I read Ace of Spades and I enjoyed that. So maybe Dark Academia like has a chance. Like, I feel like I need to give it another chance. And Babel, it's R.F. Kuang and I love Poppy War, so I enjoy her writing. Plus I've heard really good things about it. So perhaps, maybe I'll read it at one point, but I know that it's quite thick, so I feel like I need to remember how to read again properly before I can pick up such a fat book that isn't fantasy. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. There's literally 1 month left. Like, I could not tell you what's coming out in the next month. I couldn't. The biggest disappointment, I think, that the biggest disappointment, if I had to name just one book, let me get it down because this is honestly really shocking. Until the End, which is the 15th book in the Skullduggery Pleasant universe by Derek Landy. And if you know me, you know that this is my like favourite series of all time. Like, I love this series, it's my whole personality. I even have a video like trying to convince people to read the series. And basically the first 9 books came out when I was younger, and then he took a break and he came back to the series, and that's always something I'm kind of skeptical about. Sorry, this book is heavy. Look at me using my brain. Do you know, like, when things drag on? Reading the second half of the series, I think it was like 6 books that he did after the break. So the first 9 books were perfect. Like, I absolutely adored those books. But then the second half of the series, when he came back and did more, just did not hit the same. Like, there was one book I really loved, Seasons of War, the 13th book, but other than that I feel like he was kind of dragging it, and I was in my bubble of like, I just love this series, I can't even be critical. But like, now that I've had some time away from this book, I just did not enjoy the ending of it. Like, I thought that it was just not good. He went back and like, there were certain storylines from the first part of this series that were like really good and really well thought out and like really packed a punch, but now some of those storylines are being undone because of this book. Just, he should have left it. Now that I know how it ended and now I know where those storylines were going that he was building up in the second part of the series, I just don't think it was worth it. I just don't think it was worth it. Controversial for me because I love this series so much, but it's the truth. Like, this book was just not good. It was just not good. Like, I just did not enjoy it. Like, I was just so annoyed when I finished it. I was like, why would you do this? Why? So yeah, that's my biggest disappointment. I would also say beach read, right? Basically, I've read all of Emily Henry's books so far this year, and beach read, so I gave, oh, I have You and Me on Vacation right here. So this one is the first book I read, and I read that in a vlog. I absolutely loved this. This was 5 stars. And then I read Book Lovers and I loved it, so I was like, let me read beach read. But the thing is, I wasn't that interested in reading beach read because I had a feeling I wouldn't like it that much. And then a colleague had the book, so I was like, let me just borrow it and like, let me just read it. And I gave it 3 stars. So honestly, like, I guess it's not that disappointing because I didn't have high expectations for beach read. But I guess because it's Emily Henry, I don't know, I just wasn't that into it. I just didn't think it was that good. But her new book is coming out sometime next year, like early next year. So I just feel like she keeps getting better with every book, because the first book she published was Beach Read, and that was 3 stars. And then this one, which I gave 5 stars to, which I think was better than the first one. And then Book Lovers, which I gave 5 stars to, and I think was better than this one. So maybe the next one, I think it's called The Happy Places? The Happy Place? My Happy Place? I don't know. Something like that. I'll put the picture here. And I'm so excited. This couple break up, and then they have to pretend that they're still together because they go on holiday with their other 2 friends. And I think it's a second chance romance, which she's never done before, but I think I enjoy that trope. So the next question. Biggest surprise. I think the biggest surprise is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by this author right here. I honestly am so surprised because I am not a fantasy romance. Like, I don't think I've ever read fantasy romance like that. But this one was so funny. It was just so funny, such good vibes. I really, really enjoyed it. And I gave it 5 stars. It's way smuttier than I usually enjoy. But it was still so good. It was just, it didn't take itself seriously. It was really funny. It was just good. It was just good. Like, I really enjoyed it. It was a fun time, and maybe I will continue down this fantasy romance train, perhaps. I will read, I think, Legends and Lattes because Steph recommended that to me and she has taste. Next question is new favourite author. I think that this is Emily Henry. I've never read her books before this year, and 2 of those are my new favourite books, so self-explanatory. Next question is newest fictional crush, and that's easily, hands down, Charlie, don't know his last name, Charlie from Book Lovers, because he is literally, he's my type. I've never seen a contemporary romance with someone who's my type in it. Actually, it's rare I see my type in books ever, but this guy is exactly my type. Like, he's got banter, like boom 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 kind of banter, and he's not too nice because that just puts me off. And I don't know, he's just so cute, and he's just so, oh, Charlie Lazarus, that's his name. So yeah, he's literally like, newest favourite character. Okay, first of all, Nora from Book Lovers. I'm sorry, I keep talking about Book Lovers, but until you read it, I'm just going to keep talking about it. But also, I will say, I think Jayla will be happy to hear this, but Adam from The Raven Cycle, I'm not going to say he's my newest favourite character, but I changed my mind. I was wrong about him because I really disliked him. If you heard me talk about the first book or the first 2 books, I was like, he's always complaining, he's so whiny, like, he just annoys me, but he really grew on me these last 2 books. Like, I changed my mind. I take everything back. I really love him. So Adam, you deserve an apology from me. That'll be my next video, an apology video to Adam. Okay, so a book that made me cry. Usually, okay, I remember my last video of this I filmed last year. I was like, I listed so many books that made me cry. But this year, I mean, I haven't read that much anyway. But the only books that have made me cry are Jade City and Jade War. But other than that, like, I just don't think I've read anything, like, too traumatizing. Do you know what I mean? But But last year, I guess I was just an emotional wreck, I don't know. And also, I feel like I've read a lot more romance this year. I've read as many romances as I have fantasy. Books that made me happy. I'll try not to mention ones I've already spoken about. Book that literally brought me so much joy, that was a reread for me. God knows where it is. Oh, here it is Boy Meets Girl by Meg Cabot. I reread this because I couldn't read anymore. I couldn't read, but I was craving something really, really good vibes. So I reread this, and this is a book I literally got for 20p from a library when I was like 12 or 13. And it just brings me, I think it's because of nostalgia. Like maybe if I was reading this for the first time, I wouldn't like it that much. But I love this book. Like I love it. And it's written all in like different like multimedia. So it's all like letters and text messages and IMing, and like it's really good, okay? Like if you just want to inject some quick serotonin into your veins. Oh, another one that was good vibes that I read really recently was The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. This one, okay, so it's basically about these two people that are sharing a flat, but they're sharing a bed. This is obviously like an unrealistic premise, but it just felt like when you're reading it, you're just like, this just works. So there's this guy who has a flat and he's just trying to make extra money, and he does a night shift. He's a night nurse, a night shift nurse, a nurse who works the night shift. And this girl is looking for a flat, but she doesn't have money, so she's like, I need a super cheap flat. She lives in the flat during the day and he lives in the flat during the night, so they literally never bump into each other. This is a proper slow burn, so I think that if you're not into slow burns, this won't be for you, because it's a slow burn. Like the first half of this book, they don't even meet. I think that it builds up a legit friendship, because you're not like, oh, they're friends but they like each other. It's literally they communicate through post-it notes all over the flat in the first half of this book, so they literally never see each other, and it's a genuine friendship. So that was such a good like premise to use. Also some tropes that you might want to know about this. There's some forced proximity, one bed trope, is that what it's called? One bed trope. There was another trope that I was like, yep, but I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, this was good. I feel like the first half was a lot better than the second half. Like the first half I was just gobbling up, but the second half they met and I was like, that's always where a romance like kind of loses it for me. But it was really cute. Like both these characters are so cute, and I feel like Beth O'Leary's writing is very wholesome. I feel like wholesome is the correct word to describe her writing, because it's just cute. Like the characters she made, even though there was some serious topics discussed in this, one of them was in an abusive relationship that she didn't even know was abusive, and then the other character has a family member who's in prison. It deals with pretty deep topics really well, in my opinion, and it also manages to like keep it like the whole entire time. So anyway, yeah, this was really good. Oh, and then another one was The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. I feel like that was really good vibes as well, just cozy, fluffy, cute vibes, and it's a sci-fi, so yeah. There's only 3 questions left, so I'll be quick. The most beautiful book I've bought / received this year. Okay, quick story. I know I just said I was finished, but this is a book that I got this year. Look, the sun came out because look at this book. Okay, basically, right, I work in publishing, and there's this floor like all the way downstairs where it's like just packed full of books. Like there's bookshelves everywhere and you could just take a book, you know, if you see a book you like, you can take it. Either that or I've just been stealing. I hope not. Yeah, I found this, and this was like an old art. Look at it, it's like sprayed edges, and I put this on my Instagram when I first found it, but look at this. Like, oh my god, this is so beautiful, and this is one of my favorite books ever, so I was just so excited. I'm not one to like get special editions and things like that, but this is so beautiful. Like, tell me this isn't so... Okay, let me start. Okay, books I want to read by the end of the year. So I'm currently reading The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This is the same author of Night Circus, and last year I predicted that Night Circus would be one of my new favourite books, and it was. And this year, this is my prediction that I'm going to love this. And I'm currently a third of the way through it, and I'm loving it. Like, it's just so beautifully written. I don't know if it's going to beat Night Circus for me, but we'll see. There's still 2/3 of the book left, so we'll see. But it's just so beautifully written. I think I'll talk about this more in my best books of the year video, because I'm already predicting there's going to be one of them. But yeah, this is so good so far, and I'm loving it. And it's like, it fits the vibe. Like last year I read Night Circus in winter, and that's like the best time to read it because it's set in the winter and it's just so like... So yeah, I feel like I'm reading this at a good time. A book that I want to read before the end of the year. I'm being ambitious. I just want to get to 25 books by the end of the year. And if you know the rate I've been reading at recently, I feel like... Is it realistic? Who knows? So anyway, the next book I want to read, Rachel actually got for me for my birthday, so thank you, Rachel. This is Project Hail Mary, a sci-fi book. I've just heard so many good things about it. I barely know what the plot is, but everyone says not to talk about it because I think there's like a big twist. I haven't read anything by Andy Weir before, but I'm so excited to read this. Like, maybe it'll be the next book I read. Look how fluffy this is. Another book I want to read, hopefully Jade Legacy before the end of the year, but we'll see about that because I don't know if I'm in the mood to read such a heavy fantasy, but again, we'll see. Oh, and the last book is favourite book to movie adaptation you've seen this year. Yeah, that's obviously Heartstopper. Like, I think we can all agree that Heartstopper was 10 out of 10. And I haven't rewatched it, you know, I only watched it once. And I feel like everyone's rewatched it like a million times, so I feel like maybe I should rewatch it one more time. I'm talking really fast at this point, so I think I should wrap it up. I have forgotten how to film, so I'm sorry if this is a very weird video. If anyone's watching this video, I appreciate you. Like, it's been 6 months. Why are you still here? Thank you for watching. If you have any book recommendations for me right now for this weird phase of reading I'm in, where I can't really read, so I need to read books that will capture my attention, let me know if you have any recommendations. Thank you for watching.